There are phenomena that defy every law of physics we've discovered. Events that violate the fundamental principles of reality. Mysteries that have consumed the careers of thousands of scientists and remain completely unexplained. And the more we learn about the universe, the more we realize how little we actually understand. In 1977, a radio telescope in Ohio detected a signal from space so powerful and unusual that the scientist monitoring it wrote, "Wow." The signal lasted 72 seconds, came from the direction of Sagittarius, and has never been detected again, despite decades of searching. We still don't know what it was. Every natural explanation has been ruled out. Every artificial explanation seems impossible. In 1908, an explosion in Siberia flattened 80 million trees across 830 square miles. The blast was 1,000 times more powerful than the Hiroshima atomic bomb. Witnesses 40 miles away were knocked off their feet. The shockwaves circled the Earth twice. But there's no crater, no debris, no evidence of what caused it. Scientists have theories, but no proof. Something with the power of a nuclear weapon exploded over Russia, and we still don't know what it was. NASA's Kepler Space Telescope detected a star 1,400 light-years away with a light pattern that makes no sense. The star dims by up to 22% at irregular intervals. No known natural phenomenon can explain this. Some scientists suggested an alien megastructure was orbiting the star. Others proposed a swarm of comets. We still have no explanation that fits all the data. But here's what should terrify you about these mysteries. They're not ancient unsolved cases from pre-scientific eras. These are modern observations using our most advanced technology, and we're completely baffled. We've split atoms, mapped the human genome, and landed rovers on Mars. But we can't explain signals from space, explosions with no source, or stars that behave impossibly. This is a list of 12 terrifying things that science still can't explain. Why our best theories fail to account for them, and what it means that the universe contains phenomena we can't even begin to understand. 1. The WOW signal. On August 15, 1977, at 11:16 p.m., the Big Ear radio telescope at Ohio State University detected the most powerful narrowband radio signal ever recorded from space. The signal lasted exactly 72 seconds, the maximum time the telescope could track any point in the sky. It was 30 times stronger than background radiation. It came from a specific location in space near the constellation Sagittarius. Dr. Jerry Eman was reviewing the computer printout days later when he saw it. The signal strength was so extreme that he circled the data and wrote, "Wow," in red pen. That's why it's called the WOW signal. And in 47 years, we've never detected it again. Here's why it's terrifying. The signal was at 1420 megahertz, the frequency of neutral hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe. This frequency is protected worldwide because it's where astronomers search for extraterrestrial intelligence. No satellites transmit there. No terrestrial sources emit there. The signal came from space. But here's what makes it impossible to explain. The signal was narrowband, less than 10 centimeters wide. Natural cosmic phenomena produce broadband signals across many frequencies. Narrowband signals are artificially created. But the signal came from an empty region of space with no stars, no planets, nothing within several light years. Scientists have proposed natural explanations: a passing comet with a hydrogen cloud, an anomalous reflection from space debris, a rare stellar event. Every single explanation has been tested and ruled out. Comets don't produce narrowband signals. Space debris can't reflect radio waves that precisely. No known stellar phenomenon matches the data. The alien explanation has problems too. If it was a transmission, why broadcast once and never again? Why haven't we detected follow-up signals? And if aliens exist 1,400 light-years away, they would have sent this signal in the year 577 AD for it to reach Earth in 1977. We've searched that region of space hundreds of times. Nothing. The wow signal remains the strongest candidate for extraterrestrial contact we've ever detected. And we have absolutely no explanation for what it was. 2. The Tunguska event, a nuclear blast with no bomb. At 7:17 a.m. on June 30th, 1908, something exploded over the Tunguska region of Siberia with the force of 15 megatons of TNT. That's 1,000 times more powerful than the Hiroshima atomic bomb. The explosion flattened 80 million trees across 830 square miles in a radial pattern. Witnesses 40 miles away were knocked down by the shockwave. The blast was heard 600 miles away. Seismic stations across Europe registered the impact. But here's the problem. There's no crater. Nuclear explosions leave craters. Meteor impacts leave craters. Volcanic eruptions leave craters. The Tunguska explosion left nothing but flattened forest in a perfect butterfly pattern radiating from a central point 5 miles above the ground. Scientists arrived 19 years later in 1927. The Soviet government sent an expedition to find the meteor crater. They found no crater, no meteor fragments, no impact debris. Just millions of flattened trees arranged in a pattern consistent with an aerial explosion. Something exploded in mid-air with nuclear-level force, and we have no physical evidence of what it was. The leading theory is an asteroid or comet airburst. A 200-foot rock entering the atmosphere at 33,000 miles per hour would generate enough heat and pressure to explode before hitting the ground. The shock wave would flatten everything below, leaving no fragments. But here's why that doesn't work. Airbursts from asteroids have been observed since 1908. The Chelyabinsk meteor in 2013 exploded over Russia with 500 kilotons of force. It left fragments. It left a shockwave pattern. It left evidence. Tunguska left nothing. The explosion was 30 times more powerful than Chelyabinsk, but we can't find a single piece of rock. Alternative theories get weird fast. Black hole impact, impossible, would have an exit wound on the other side of Earth. Antimatter meteor. No evidence antimatter exists in chunk form in space. Natural nuclear explosion from a pocket of uranium underground. Geological surveys found no radiation. Tesla's death ray test, gone wrong. Cool theory, zero evidence. 115 years later, we still don't know. Something with the explosive force of 1,000 Hiroshima bombs detonated over Siberia. The shock wave circled Earth twice, and we have no physical evidence of what caused it. The Tunguska event remains the largest impact event in recorded history with no confirmed explanation. 3. Tabby's star. The star that shouldn't be dimming K.E. 846285-2. Nicknamed Tabby's star after astronomer Tabitha Boyajian, is a star 1,470 light-years away that's behaving in a way that defies all known astrophysics. Between 2011 and 2013, NASA's Kepler Space Telescope observed this star dim by up to 22% at irregular intervals. No known natural phenomenon can cause this. Here's why 22% is impossible. When a planet passes in front of a star, it blocks light. Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system, blocks 1% of the sun's light during a transit. To block 22%, you'd need something 20 times wider than Jupiter. That's half the size of the star itself. No planet that large can exist. It would be a star. But it gets weirder. The dimming is irregular. Planets orbit on predictable schedules. Tabby's star dimmed by 15% one time, 22% another time, then nothing for months. The pattern makes no sense. And long-term observations show the star has been gradually dimming by 20% over the past century. The alien megastructure hypothesis made headlines. Astronomer Jason Wright suggested an advanced alien civilization might be building a Dyson swarm, thousands of solar panels orbiting the star to harvest energy. As they construct more panels, the star would dim irregularly. It's the only artificial explanation that fits the data. But here's why scientists hate that hypothesis. Aliens are the last resort explanation. Before suggesting extraterrestrial engineering, you must rule out every natural explanation. And scientists have been trying desperately to find natural explanations. Theory 1. A swarm of comets is orbiting the star. Comets are too small and too transparent to block 22% of light, and they would melt or evaporate over time, not persist for years. Theory 2. A dust cloud is passing between us and the star. Dust clouds block blue light more than red light. Tabby's star dims equally across all wavelengths. And dust clouds disperse. They don't maintain coherent shapes for years. Theory 3. The star swallowed a planet millions of years ago, and debris is still orbiting. Planetary destruction creates temporary clouds that dissipate in decades, not centuries, and the dimming would be more regular as debris settles into orbital patterns. In 2019, scientists observed Tabby's star dimming again and collected spectroscopic data. The analysis suggested dust particles might be involved, but the paper admitted the exact nature of the dust remains unclear. Translation: we still don't know. The alien megastructure hypothesis hasn't been proven, but it also hasn't been ruled out. And that terrifies astronomers, because if we can't find a natural explanation for Tabby's star, we're left with two options. Either our understanding of stellar physics is fundamentally wrong, or we're observing evidence of alien engineering on a scale we can barely comprehend. 4. Ball lightning. Physics-defying spheres of fire people have reported ball lightning for centuries, glowing spheres of light, usually 10 to 40 centimeters in diameter, floating through the air, passing through walls, occasionally exploding. The phenomenon has been observed by pilots, scientists, and thousands of witnesses. But according to known physics, ball lightning shouldn't be possible. Here's what witnesses describe. A glowing sphere appears during thunderstorms, floats horizontally at walking speed, lasts 10-40 seconds, then disappears either by fading away or exploding violently. The spheres pass through walls and windows without breaking them. They sometimes follow conductive paths like wires. They occasionally emit a hissing or buzzing sound. And here's the problem. Plasma doesn't behave this way. Lightning is plasma. Superheated ionized gas at 30,000 degrees Celsius. Plasma requires constant energy to exist. The plasma dissipates in milliseconds. Ball lightning lasts 10-40 seconds with no apparent energy source. And plasma at 30,000 degrees Celsius would instantly incinerate anything it touched. Yet ball lightning floats past people without burning them. Scientists have been trying to explain ball lightning for 200 years. Theories include: Theory 1. Microwave cavity resonance. Lightning strikes create standing electromagnetic waves between clouds and ground. These waves form a spherical cavity that contains energy in the form of glowing plasma. No one has ever detected the specific electromagnetic conditions required, and laboratory attempts to recreate this have failed. When lightning hits soil, it vaporizes silicon particles. These particles recombine in the air, releasing energy as light. The silicon nanoparticles form a sphere that glows until the energy is exhausted. This would create glowing silicon balls, not plasma spheres. And silicon combustion doesn't explain how ball lightning passes through solid walls. Theory 3. Antimatter contained by electromagnetic fields. Lightning somehow creates microscopic amounts of antimatter that's trapped in a magnetic bottle, slowly annihilating and releasing energy. Creating antimatter requires particle accelerators and massive energy. Lightning doesn't have the precision or energy to create and contain antimatter. This theory is desperate physics. In 2014, Chinese scientists accidentally captured ball lightning on video and spectrographic equipment. They were studying regular lightning when ball lightning appeared. The spectroscopic data showed silicon, but iron and calcium, elements found in soil. This supports the silicon vaporization theory. But the data also showed the ball moving horizontally for 5 seconds and passing through the observation equipment's line of sight without disruption. Silicon combustion doesn't explain horizontal movement against gravity. It doesn't explain how a burning chemical reaction maintains spherical shape. And it doesn't explain how the phenomenon passes through solid objects. Ball lightning has been observed thousands of times. It's real. It's documented, and we have no complete explanation for how it works. Every theory explains some characteristics, but fails to explain others. The phenomenon violates our understanding of plasma physics, thermodynamics, and electromagnetic theory. 5. The placebo effect. Your mind healing your body through belief. The placebo effect is one of the most studied phenomena in medical science. It's also one of the least understood. Give patients sugar pills and tell them it's medicine, and 30 to 40% will experience real, measurable improvement. The improvement isn't imaginary. Brain scans show actual changes. Biochemistry tests show actual chemical changes. The body genuinely heals itself because the mind believes it's being healed. Here's how powerful placebo is. In clinical trials for antidepressants, placebo pills work 80%, as well as the actual medication. For pain management, placebo works 50%, as well as morphine. For Parkinson's disease, placebo causes patients' brains to produce real dopamine in the exact regions where dopamine is deficient. But here's what makes it terrifying. We have no idea how belief creates physical changes. Thoughts are electrical impulses in neurons. How do electrical impulses in the brain trigger the production of specific neurotransmitters in specific locations? How does believing you're receiving treatment cause measurable reduction in tumor size? How does expectation alter biochemistry? The nocebo effect is even worse. Tell patients they're receiving a drug with terrible side effects. Give them sugar pills, and they'll experience the side effects. Nausea, dizziness, pain, hair loss, all from sugar pills, because they believed the side effects would occur. In one study, patients with lactose intolerance were given lactose-free milk, but told it contained lactose. 44% experienced digestive symptoms from milk that contained no lactose. Their belief that they were consuming lactose created real physical symptoms from a substance that shouldn't affect them. Even weirder, the color and size of placebo pills affects their effectiveness. Red pills work better for stimulant effects. Blue pills work better for sedative effects. Larger pills work better than smaller pills. More expensive-looking pills work better than cheap-looking pills. The patient's expectations based on visual cues change the physical response. Patients are split into groups. One group is put under anesthesia, given incisions that are then stitched up. Patients who had fake knee surgery report less pain, better mobility, and improved quality of life, identical to patients who received real surgical intervention. Their belief that they had surgery caused measurable physical improvement. Science has no explanation. We can document the placebo effect. We can measure it. We can reproduce it in controlled trials. But we cannot explain the mechanism by which conscious belief triggers unconscious physiological changes. The connection between mind and body is real, powerful, and completely mysterious. 6. Dark matter. 85% of the universe is something we can't detect. The universe is 95% stuff we can't see, can't measure, and can't explain. Only 5% of the universe is normal matter. Atoms, molecules, the stuff you and I are made of. The rest is dark matter, 27%, and dark energy, 68%, and we have no idea what they are. Here's how we know dark matter exists. Galaxies rotate too fast. Based on the visible matter, galaxies should fly apart. Something invisible is holding them together with gravity. That something is called dark matter. We can measure its effects, but can't detect the matter itself. It doesn't emit light. It doesn't absorb light. It doesn't reflect light. It doesn't interact with electromagnetic radiation at all. The only way we know it exists is through gravitational effects on visible matter. Scientists have been searching for dark matter particles for 40 years. Massive underground detectors designed to catch the rare moment when a dark matter particle collides with normal matter. Particle accelerators attempting to create dark matter. Satellites scanning space for dark matter signatures. Result: nothing. We've found 0 dark matter particles. Every experiment has failed. Every detector comes up empty. Dark matter either doesn't interact with normal matter at all, except through gravity, or our understanding of gravity is completely wrong. Theory 1. Dark matter is WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles. Theoretical particles that have mass but don't interact electromagnetically. Decades of searching have found no WIMPs. Theory 2. Dark matter is primordial black holes. Millions of tiny black holes formed in the early universe. We should detect them through gravitational lensing. We don't. Theory 3. There is no dark matter. Gravity works differently than we think. Modified Newtonian dynamics, Mund suggests gravity is stronger at galactic scales. Mund fails to explain galaxy cluster dynamics and cosmic microwave background data. 85% of the matter in the universe is something we cannot see, cannot detect, and cannot explain. Every star in the sky, every planet and galaxy is only 15% of what exists. The vast majority of reality is invisible to us. Fast radio bursts, massive energy pulses from nowhere. Fast radio bursts, FRBs, are millisecond-long pulses of radio waves from deep space, each releasing more energy than the sun produces in 80 years. They come from billions of light years away. We've detected hundreds of them, and we have no idea what causes them. The first FRB was discovered in 2007 by analyzing archive data from 2001. Astronomer Duncan Lorimer found a 5-millisecond burst of radio energy from outside our galaxy. The burst released 500 million times more energy than the sun. For 5 milliseconds, this source was brighter than 500 million stars combined. FRBs appear random. Most happen once and never repeat. A few sources repeat irregularly. They come from all directions. Different frequencies, different energy levels. No pattern. Here's why they're impossible to release that much energy in milliseconds. Requires something small, dense, and incredibly powerful. Neutron stars can do this, but neutron star events should be detectable through multiple wavelengths. FRBs appear only in radio. But black hole accretion creates persistent signals, not millisecond bursts. In 2020, astronomers detected an FRB from inside our own galaxy. It came from a magnetar, a neutron star with an extremely powerful magnetic field. This proved magnetars can produce FRBs. But here's the problem. The galactic FRB was 30 times weaker than distant FRBs. If the distant bursts came from magnetars like ours, they would need to be 30 times more powerful than any known magnetar. And we have no explanation for why magnetars billions of light years away would be 30 times stronger than ours. The repeating FRBs are even stranger. One source, FRB 121102, has produced over 1,600 bursts. The bursts follow a 157-day cycle, 90 days of activity, 67 days of silence, then activity again. What natural phenomenon operates on a 157-day cycle? We have no idea. Alien explanations have been proposed. A 2017 Harvard paper suggested FRBs could be leakage from alien spacecraft propulsion systems using powerful radio beams. Why would alien propulsion systems be visible from billions of light years away? And why would they operate on random schedules? We're detecting more FRBs every year. Modern telescopes find them daily. Each one releases energy that should be impossible. And each one deepens the mystery of what could produce such powerful bursts. 8. The Great Attractor. Something is pulling our galaxy. Our galaxy is moving. not just expanding with the universe, actively moving towards something, along with hundreds of thousands of other galaxies, is being pulled toward a region of space 250 million light-years away at 1,000 kilometers per second. That region is called the Great Attractor. We can measure our galaxy's movement precisely. Observations of the cosmic microwave background show we're moving relative to the universe's expansion. We're being pulled. Something massive is pulling us. The problem, we can't see what's pulling us. The Great Attractor is located behind the zone of avoidance, a region of sky blocked by the Milky Way's disk. Our own galaxy's dust and stars prevent us from observing what's out there. It's like trying to see through a thick fog, using X-ray and infrared telescopes that penetrate dust. Astronomers have mapped the region. They found the Norma cluster, a massive galaxy cluster in the direction of the pull. Problem: the Norma cluster isn't massive enough to account for our galaxy's velocity. The math doesn't work. In the 1990s, astronomers discovered something even larger, the Shapley supercluster. This is a cluster of galaxy clusters, 650 million light-years away, containing 8,000 galaxies and 10 circumflex, 17 solar masses. It's the largest known structure pulling on our local group of galaxies. But here's what's terrifying. Even accounting for the Shapley supercluster, the math still doesn't fully work. Our galaxy's velocity requires more mass than we can observe. Either there's even more mass we haven't detected, dark matter, or our understanding of gravity at cosmic scales is wrong. We're moving 1,000 kilometers per s towards something. In 4 billion years, we'll have traveled 126 million light-years toward the Great Attractor region. And we still don't know exactly what's pulling us or how massive it really is. 9. The Fermi paradox. Where is everybody? There are 200 billion trillion stars in the observable universe. Billions of them have planets in the habitable zone. If even 0.001% developed life, there should be millions of alien civilizations. Some should be millions of years ahead of us technologically. So where is everybody? This is the Fermi paradox, named after physicist Enrico Fermi, who asked, "Where are they?" in 1950. The math says aliens should exist. The silence suggests they don't. And we have no good explanation for this contradiction. But intelligent life is rare, the rare Earth hypothesis. Maybe microbial life is common. But the jump to complex multicellular life is so unlikely that we're one of the only intelligent species. Problem with Theory 1, life on Earth appeared 3.8 billion years ago, almost immediately after the planet cooled enough to support it. The speed at which life emerged suggests life is easy, not rare. Theory 2, intelligent civilizations destroy themselves. The Great Filter. Maybe every civilization reaches a technological level where they develop weapons capable of extinction, and they always use them. Problem with Theory 2. This assumes every civilization makes the same mistakes. Some should survive. Some should colonize other worlds, and even if 99.99% destroy themselves, the 0.01% that survive should be detectable. Theory 3. Advanced civilizations exist, but avoid contact, the zoo hypothesis. Maybe aliens are watching us like we watch wildlife in a nature preserve, deliberately avoiding interference. Problem with Theory 3. This requires every single alien civilization to agree on this policy. One rogue faction, one breakaway group, one explorer who doesn't follow the rules. And the silence is broken. Perfect coordination among millions of potential civilizations seems impossible. Theory 4. Advanced civilizations exist, but we can't detect them. Maybe they use communication technology we haven't discovered. Maybe they encode data so efficiently, it looks like random noise. Maybe they're communicating and we're listening to the wrong frequencies. Problem with Theory 4. This only explains communication silence. It doesn't explain why we see no evidence of massive engineering projects. No signs of stellar energy harvesting. No probes exploring our solar system. The most disturbing explanation is the Great Filter hypothesis. This suggests there's a step in the evolution from primitive life to galaxy-colonizing civilization that's nearly impossible to pass. And we don't know if that filter is behind us or ahead of us. If the Great Filter is behind us, then we're incredibly lucky. The jump from chemistry to self-replicating molecules was so unlikely that Earth is one of the only places it happened. We're alone, but we're safe. If the Great Filter is ahead of us, then every civilization reaches a point where extinction becomes inevitable. Nuclear war, climate catastrophe, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology gone wrong. Something kills every species before they can colonize the galaxy. And we haven't reached that filter yet. The silence from space is either cosmically lonely or existentially terrifying. We're either alone in a universe that should be teeming with life, or we're about to hit a filter that has destroyed every civilization before us. 10. Consciousness. Why are you aware that you exist? You are conscious. You experience reality. You have thoughts, feelings, and awareness of your own existence. This seems obvious and simple, but science has absolutely no explanation for how consciousness arises from physical matter. The hard problem of consciousness is this. We can explain how neurons fire. We can map brain regions. We can measure electrical activity. But we cannot explain why that activity creates subjective experience. Why does processing information feel like something? Why is there an inner experience at all? Think about the color red. When you see red, photons hit your retina, triggering chemical reactions that send electrical signals to your brain's visual cortex. Neurons fire in specific patterns. But why do those neural firing patterns create the subjective experience of redness? You could program a computer to detect red wavelengths and respond to them. The computer processes the information perfectly, but the computer doesn't experience redness. It has no inner sensation of what red feels like. You do. Why? We have no answer. Consciousness seems to violate physical causation. Physical processes cause other physical processes. Neurons firing cause other neurons to fire. But how do physical processes cause non-physical subjective experience? Theory 1. Emergent complexity. Maybe consciousness emerges when information processing reaches sufficient complexity. Just as water molecules create wetness when combined, neurons create consciousness when networked complexly enough. Problem: emergent properties are reducible to their components. Wetness is just molecules moving. But consciousness can't be reduced to neurons firing. The subjective experience of red isn't just neural activity, it's the feeling of experiencing red. Where does that feeling come from? Theory 2. Panpsychism. Maybe consciousness is a fundamental property of matter, like mass or charge. Electrons have tiny amounts of consciousness. When billions of particles form complex structures like brains, their consciousness combines into human awareness. Problem: this is untestable. How do you detect consciousness in an electron? How do you measure it? And even if electrons are conscious, how do their micro-consciousnesses combine into your unified awareness? The combination problem has no solution. Theory 3. Consciousness is an illusion. Maybe there's no subjective experience at all. You just think you're conscious because your brain has created a model that includes a sense of self. You're a philosophical zombie, a being that acts conscious but has no inner experience. Problem: this contradicts direct experience. You know you're conscious. The one thing you can't doubt is your own awareness. Descartes: I think, therefore I am. Consciousness is the only thing you can be certain exists. Anesthesia makes this even more mysterious. Anesthetics disrupt consciousness completely. You're unconscious during surgery, but your brain is still active. Neurons still fire. Information still processes. Blood still flows. The only difference is specific neural pathways are inhibited, so consciousness can be turned off by blocking specific brain circuits. This proves consciousness is physical and depends on brain activity. But it doesn't explain why brain activity creates subjective experience in the first place. We don't know what consciousness is. We don't know how it works. We don't know why it exists. You are aware. You experience reality. You feel emotions and sensations, and science has absolutely no explanation for why physical matter produces subjective awareness.